Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page, where I do this daily live stream, all based on the divination card that's drawn in the morning. And it sparks a spiritual conversation for us here, and I enjoy it. I really do. And so today is Monday, April 22nd, and it is let's celebrate Earth Day, right? Go out and pick up some trash or figure out how you want to add another thing to recycle to your list of recycling. Go spend some time outside, out in the hopefully out in nature. That would be great, right? Just to have gratitude and appreciation of everything that Grandmother Earth does for us, and how we can step up our game and protect her a bit more, even in the smallest ways, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I say. To start in your own home with yourself, and if you have the energy and the time to branch out a little bit into your own community and see what's going on there that you can assist with, or if you want, go bigger, go statewide or go national. Water protectors are deep in my heart, and so. Yeah. So anything that we can do, right? Any little thing that we can do to help protect her. Because, one of the things that I know for sure is that, and science has proven this, is that humans, us two-leggeds, we're programmed, hardwired to protect what we love. And if you love Grandmother Earth, then it's a no-brainer, right? Then we're going to protect her. Yeah. Yeah. So I am going to take my phone and I'm going to like and share the broadcast, the live stream. And there we go. Just got to find our live stream. I usually have this all set up. Kind of on a roll a little bit when we first got started here. All right. So where are we? There we are. There we are. So I'm gonna like it, and I'm gonna share it over to my news feed, and let my friends know that I'm live streaming. Yeah, and asking them to please join. There we go. And I think Stephanie is still out on the road, doing a road trip between Oklahoma and Colorado. So I am going to share over to one of the closed groups too. And gonna let them know I'm live streaming. And then asking them to please join. There we go. That's good. Excellent. Now, it's a good one. It just takes a little bit. Just takes a little while to get it all shared out. Let's see who's here. Rochelle's here. Hello, Rochelle. Hello, Neshi. Hello, Rochelle. Good to have you here, always. And Julie Shumway Hill's here too. Hello, Julie. Good to have you here. And let's see. Thank you, Rochelle, for sharing. Appreciate it. She also says, went to see the surgeon who fixed my left shoulder. He says everything is fine. Yay! Yay, that is good news, Rochelle. Excellent news. And I know that doing the therapy right after the surgery, was really, really hard. But I'm glad you stuck with it, because it's gonna be so much better for it in the long run, right? Getting through, because I know it's painful to get that through that therapy, but it's good that you did it. And thank you for letting us know you're grounded. It's a good question, about who's all grounded, especially today, as we all turn our attention to Grandmother Earth and show her our appreciation, to be able to send her some love, right, in our grounding, to be very conscious of our connection to her. Yeah. Rochelle says sunny here and 70 degrees. Well, you got us beat by a long shot, Rochelle. It's been cloudy. It was a little sunny this morning, early this morning, but it's been cloudy. We've already had two bouts of rain. We're supposed to have thunderstorms starting this afternoon and running through the evening, and so we'll have a lot of rain. It's not very warm. It's actually kind of cool out. I think our high is supposed to be 48 degrees, I think. Yeah. So we went from I think it was like 72 or 75 yesterday on Easter, to I think our high is 45 today, I think. Yeah, crazy weather, huh? Hey, Kimberly's here. Hello, Kimberly. Hi, everyone. Hope you had a lovely Easter. We did. I hope you did too. Hope you did too. Yay. Thank you, Julie, for letting us know you grounded too. And like I said, that of all days, to consciously be connected to Grandmother Earth is on Earth Day. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the founder of Earth Day. He was from Wisconsin, Gaylord Nelson. He was one of our governors, and he also was one of our senators as well here from Wisconsin, federal governor. Federal Senate, and yeah, he made the first to make it an observed. I don't want to call it a holiday, but naming a day Earth Day, because back in the 70s, it was like no regulation, toxic dumping and waste and that kind of thing into the waterways, and there was little rules and regulations around that, and so he started Earth Day, and I remember. It was like in the mid 70s, because I was in high school at the time, and I remember it being such a big to do here in the state, because down in Madison, where our capital is, they had the first rally to support the Earth and to take care of her and to clean up our own waste and mess out there. And so that got kicked off here in the state of Wisconsin. Yeah, and I think the big thing that motivated Gaylord Nelson, according to the story, is that he was in California I think it was Long Island. Not Long Island. That's not right. That's in New York. It'll come to me. There had been an oil spill. It was actually close to a larger city, right? And he went there, and he was just disgusted with how it was not being cleaned up and nobody taking responsibility for it, and so he did something about it. Yeah. So, and I remember when he passed away, it was he walked on. It was like in the mid 2000s. I want to say 2005. Could have been 2006. No, it wasn't 2006, because we moved here in 2006. So it had been 2004 or 2005. I had just finished teaching a 2-week certification course, and I got home and was starting to bring things into the house and get them put back into storage and that kind of thing. Paul comes home and he says, so did you hear? Did I hear what? And he said, Gaylord Nelson passed away. And I said, oh, really? Oh, man, when did that happen? And he said, yes, a few days. It was like, near our halfway point in the certification course. And the next day was supposed to be his memorial down at the state building, right? Our Capitol. And I had a whole bunch of calls that day. Are you going? Are you going? Are you going? It's like, no, I'm not going. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't plan anything. And so I watched it on television instead. But yeah, he did a great deal. And see, to me, that is a huge example, I think, of somebody using their gifts for the greater good, you know. I know he was a politician, so he probably had some issues too. I'm not saying he was perfect, but the one thing that he is remembered for um, here in our state is the founding of Earth Day. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, Julie, really? You guys are 73 degrees? She's only like an hour and a half from me. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna look real quick. We're 61 degrees. Our high is supposed to be 64. I don't think we're gonna make it. Yeah, we're at 61 degrees. Yeah. Crazy weather. All right. And Rob, hey, Rob's here too. Hello, Rob. He says the EPA wasn't created until 1970. I'm older than that. Yeah, that's true. But I think that if I remember right, Rob, it was a lot of that coincided together. You know, there were how they propose bills and that kind of thing. That a lot of the representatives and senators will work on something together. And the Earth Day was a bipartisan effort. And I'm sure the EPA was not bipartisan. But anyway, a lot of those things kind of happened near or around the same time. Probably for good reason, right? Probably for good reason. But anyway, today, that's it. Thank you, Julie. Santa Barbara oil spill in 1969. Yes, he tells the story about that and how he was really angry about it, angry enough to try to do something about it, right? Yeah. Now I think there's also an International Earth Day. There's two of them. Just like there's two International Peace Day, and then there's Peace Day here in the United States. I don't know. Oh, Tricky Dick. Yeah, that's true. The 70s. What a time, right? The 1970s. I spent my teenage years in the 70s, right? And we had we had Nixon for president. We had just gotten out of Vietnam. I think it was in 72 or 73. And what else? We had the best songs, the best rock music coming out in the 70s. Now, that's my 2 cents. I'm sure there's other people would have other things to say about that. But there's a lot of good things that came out of the 70s too. Of course, what it was, disco. Come on, some of the music wasn't too bad coming out of disco. Um, all right, so I hope you guys had a good weekend, a holiday weekend. For those who celebrate and observe Easter. I hope you had a good weekend, a good day for that. Those that are still, observing Passover, good for that too. Yeah. Rob is saying Gordon Lightfoot hit his stride in the 70s. Yes, he did. The one song that I always, when I hear Gordon Lightfoot, is the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, because that's such a sad song. Oh. And that happened, here in Wisconsin too. It's like, yeah. And most people don't realize how really big Lake Michigan is and how big Lake Superior is. They're the largest inland water in the United States, and they're kind of like oceans, and yeah. So when I see or hear Gordon Lightfoot, that's the song that I go to. But it also gives us expensive. That's true. It's like, it's such an extreme, right? Such an extreme. Yeah, wasn't it? The 70s was also glam rock, wasn't it? It was, or was that in the 80s? In the 80s, maybe it was like late 70s, because I can remember the guys with long hair and the makeup on, and yeah. I think Bon Jovi was like in the 80s, though, wasn't he? Anyway, let's get to the cards. Well, digress. I was going to upload some pictures for you guys too, but time got away on me this morning. Um, I have some pictures and a little bit of a video of George. It was so warm on Sunday, and this is, he was born in July, so he knows warmth, hot days, and now he's been through one winter. Spring, this is his first spring, and so he's got all kinds of new stuff. And he spends a good probably 80 to 90% of his time outside. And he had his first swimming pool experience, just a kiddie pool. But he finally put his head in the water, and yeah, I got some good pictures of him with that. And although he got sick last night, I don't know, he ate something that didn't agree with him, and I don't know what it was. But he threw up, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, and this all started happening at 10:30 last night. So I really didn't get to bed and actually asleep until close to 2. And yeah, so he's better, but he's good. The last time he threw up, it was all the stuff that he probably shouldn't have had, and it looked like sticks of some sort. And yeah, but he's better. He's good. He's good right now. And right now he's laying underneath the table sleeping, taking his afternoon snooze. That's his way of holding space for us. He lays under the table and falls asleep, usually on right on my foot somehow. But Rob is saying glam started in the 70s, but the hair metal carried on into the 80s. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's some songs that came out of that too. I mean, I think, Queen was pretty big in the 70s. I can remember We Will Rock You. We were doing that in 1978 because our high school, we graduated in 78, and our basketball team went to state, right? And I can remember that basketball season, especially the home games, when bleachers are full and you got all of these high school kids, chanting, "We will rock you," and or "We are the champions," that kind of stuff, Queen. Still one of my favorite bands. And Rob is saying, I've been to the museum at Whitefish Point. Yeah, I haven't been, but God, the song, even to this day, all make me cry. Because I think about the families and how they do the memorial now and how they ring the bell, right, for each life that was lost on the Edmund Fitzgerald. And yeah, didn't they just do some more information about that? That was something about they found out the actual reason how it sank, and that wasn't too long ago. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago that came up. Rochelle said, so have I Love Paradise, me and the surrounding area. Yeah, good for you, Rochelle. And Julie said, and stomping our feet on the bleachers. Yes, we were. Yes, we were. We were very enthusiastic, right? Julie and I graduated together. And yes, we were very enthusiastic. Yeah, there was a couple of times I think we really got into trouble though as a class, as a school, I should say. There was a couple of cheers that were not very sportsmanlike. Let's put it that way. And yeah, I don't remember the words to them though. All right. Speaking of communication, let's put it that way. Communication. This is the first card. Smoke signals. It's about intent. Intent. Smoke signals. This is not just a Hollywood thing that we saw on in movies, westerns. They always showed the smoke signals up on a cliff, right? And in those movies, so that everybody could see them. It wasn't just Hollywood stuff. Smoke signals was real. Mostly done west of the Mississippi because they had such wide open bands, and to be able to communicate from a distance that way. But it's true. There was an actual communication, way of communicating using smoke. Um, and the fires that they built was a mixture of dry and wet wood. And they would use a blanket that was soaked in water, right? And so they would put the blanket over the fire, and they would take it off. And so, to me, it very similar to a communication like Morse code. Okay, so there were certain ways that they would create the smoke that would communicate with somebody that was at a much further distance, and so that was real. That wasn't just Hollywood. Yeah, and so the smoke signal card is really about is how do you communicate? How do your words and your actions, your behavior align? Right? Does your body language align with your words? And there's so many different ways to communicate, right? Many, many ways to communicate. And we do that in modern day. We take a look. George, he's such a boy. He literally had to move my foot over so he could put his nose where he wanted it. Okay, so in modern day, we have many different ways to communicate. And when I was reading through the information about smoke signals, and it's about intention, right? How we intend to communicate. What do we intend to communicate? Is that with emails and texting? Sometimes I think that there's like no filter, right? Especially when you're angry about something. And do you ever notice that people are write really personal and really shocking kind of, why would they say that in public? I mean, it's like they know that it's a public forum, and yet they do it anyway, right? Yeah, it's like we really don't want to know about your marital, situation, and how much that other person has lied to you and that kind of thing. There's some things I think that we have to pick and choose where we're going to have the conversation and how. It's just not what we're going to say, but it's where and how we're going to say it. Because sometimes it's better to do it a one-on-one, whether it's a telephone call, right? Or if you live close enough to be able to actually meet somewhere to have that conversation. And other times, I think that it's kind of fun to do a conversation via messenger or text, or Instagram, that kind of thing, because it's kind of fun, and we can actually be supportive of each other in a community like Star Nations, that we are so global that to be able to have those kinds of conversations through the chats, through the postings that are done in the groups and on the fan page. So I think that when we take a look at how we communicate, we also have to look at where and when do we communicate, right? Yeah. Rob says he loves my. Yes, he does. Should have seen him last night when he was so sick last night. Because I was debating, do we take him in? Do we call his vet and take him into the emergency? What should we do here? So Paul and I were kind of weighing the odds on that, and kind of pathetic. George kind of low crawls on his belly. He was on the bed. I was trying to hope that he wasn't going to throw up on the bed, but he didn't. He kind of low crawled over to me and put his head on my lap, and all he wanted me to do was rub his tummy because he must have had such a tummy ache. But anyway, yes, he does. And you're right, Julie. It's about anonymity. Is that you think that there's people think that they can say whatever they want to say and not have any responsibility for it either, you know. And so many times, oh my gosh, people who are well known, right? Like actors and politicians and those kinds of people, they do the same thing, and then they end up having to retract it or delete it. Yeah. Yes, exactly, Julie. Or the feeling of anonymity. That's right. Yeah. We'll have to catch up in the replay. Oh, here, let me show you the card that we got, Pat. It's smoke signals. And it's about intent. Intent. And smoke signals, it's not just Native Americans who used it, and mostly out west of the Mississippi, but other cultures used them too, where there was maybe a great distance between, and they had to communicate quickly, right? Yeah. Yeah, and I was just saying that we had in modern day we have many, many different ways to communicate, and that I think that we have to not just be intentional about what we're going to say, the words that we use, but we also should be mindful of where we say it and when we say it. Yeah. Hey, Stephanie's here. Hello, Stephanie. Road trip woman. Yeah. Good to have you here. Yeah. Smoke on the water, fire in the sky. Yeah, did you ever hear the long version of that? They don't play it very often. And I don't have the recording of that. I'm sure that's probably on YouTube somewhere. But the long version of Smoke on the Water, it's a good one. It's got great drums in it. But we have to, when we're communicating, I think we really have to be very selective of where and when we're going to have our communication, what we're going to say, right? Because if it's a very private situation, is you don't want to do it on a public site. That I think that's just asking for a whole lot more trouble than what's really there. You're complicating things, basically, causing more drama. Yeah, and most people would normally their minds will go to a confrontation of some sort, right? Anger, but it can also be one where it's a couple who is maybe going having this conversation in public, and it's about their love for each other kind of thing, and it's nice, but we don't need to be a voyeur on it either, and so yeah, I think that the intent has to be expanded a bit. Yeah. And choosing what we're going to say or how we're going to say it. It kind of reminds me, Don Miguel Ruiz, the Four Agreements, about how the word is sacred, right? And that we should be very mindful of our words and our thoughts, because our thoughts do create things, right? And our words, they carry a vibration to them, and they also carry our breath behind them. And so when you're really angry with somebody and you're really saying some pretty awful things, condemning them, damning them, that kind of thing, it carries a vibration. And so even though you might be angry with that person, do you really mean that? Do you really mean it? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The original recording of it. Yeah. I've only heard it twice in my life. And once on the radio, right? Or maybe both of them were on the radio. Yeah, both of them were on the radio. I was thinking maybe one was an 8-track, but no, I think both of them were on the radio. Rob says, listen to the lyrics and imagine the elements as in the I Ching Kwa. It fits. Okay, we'll have to do that. Now, we're not playing it backwards or anything, though, right? Paul's not the walrus, right? Stephanie says, is there an actress with the last name Lottie? Yeah, I think there is. I think she's, I think she plays a lot of mob wife roles, if I remember right. No? Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong one. Okay, so here is Jamie Sam's poem about smoke signals. She says, smoke signals, sacred language of the sky, please speak to me. You who live where eagles fly, spirit I can see. In the form of cloud people coming from the fire, sacred smoke, you call me to be my desires. Let me travel skyward with a heart so true that may fly like eagle and be close to you. I like that. I do. And so she says that the Native Americans had understood and utilized many unspoken languages for centuries. Okay, because we also had a sign language as well. When you have a lot of Native people in one area and you speak different languages, you tend to start using a lot of sign language. Okay, and it becoming more of a standard over generations, right? And so now in modern day, we have, well, there's the American Sign Language, but there's also the Native American Sign Language, and so, yeah, to be able to communicate, even though you may be speaking verbally, have different languages. She says that smoke signals are the bridge between the earth and the sky. The smoke from the sacred pipe is the essence of our prayers in visual form, traveling to great mystery. In this manner, all our relations are put on notice that the prayers of the people are traveling to the great star nation to be heard. The smoke signals used as communications between scouts at a difference are no different than the smoke signals through the pipe to the great mystery. Both are unspoken languages that signal the sender's intent. The sender's intent. She also says that smoke signals are the language of the sky nations that relay the intention of the sender to those spirits who understand the heart's whispers. Don't you like that? The intention of the sender to those spirits who understand the heart's whispers. Yeah, the answers to the smoke signals questions can be read in the faces of the cloud people. She goes on to say that the smoke signals being sent your way call for clear intent. Call for clear intent. If your purpose or direction in life has been muddled, now is the time to walk your talk. The signals you send to others may be bringing unwanted attention your way. Observe what it is that you are putting out and straighten up so that you will attract the kind of experiences and people you want inside your sacred space. She also says another message is a reminder from the spirit world. If you lack direction or have unclear intent as to what your needs are, the allies, in other words, spirit, cannot assist you with those requests. Clear intent brings rewards on all levels and will speed your growth process. Pay attention and take advantage of the power of your intentions. You've won half the battle when your clear intent removes the barriers to decisive action. Okay, so our clear intent is very helpful when we're addressing another two-legged, right? That we don't send mixed signals, that our words and our body language or our behavior don't match, right? And in my world, that when your words and your body language and your actions are in alignment, that you have integrity, that all can see it, they can hear it. Yeah. And so our communication, when we express our intent, what we intend, also includes our spiritual teams and how and what we say to them. Okay. Yeah. So if we're unclear in what we intend, and this is what Jamie is saying, is that if we're unclear in what we intend, our spiritual team doesn't know exactly what to bring to us and what we're asking for. Yeah. To me, it's kind of like, you remember when we were kids and we played that game where the first person, told a story or said a few sentences, and they told the next person, and that person told the next person. By the time it went through several people and it came around to the first person who said it, it wasn't anything or nearly anything like what was said. It's kind of like that. Yeah. So when you're not clear, when your intention isn't clear, what you get is a lot of miscommunication. And when you have miscommunication, you have misunderstanding. Yeah. Yeah. Smoke signals. It's about intent. Yeah. The kind of conversation that we might have with our spiritual team, I don't think we've ever really talked about that, have we? I know that I say to you is like, turn to your spiritual team. Remember to connect with your spiritual team. Ask them, they can't help us until we ask for the help, right? You hear me say that a lot. But I don't think we've ever actually talked about our communication and how we communicate with them. Yeah. I don't think we've ever done that. Yeah. So how I communicate with my spiritual team, it depends. It depends on what I'm requesting. Sometimes it is a request. It's like in the mornings, when I do the card draw and I ask them to come close, the whole team, and please show me the energy that's flowing today that is most important for us to know about for our highest good and our soul growth through these cards, right? And so the intention is pretty clear that I'm asking for some help and what I'm asking for. But there's times when I'm just having a conversation with them, as if they were in physical form and they were sitting right here next to me in a chair and we're just having a conversation. Yeah, because I figured they're friends. They're friends. They're there to help us in the best way possible. And they love us like all get out. They love us. And they only want to see us happy and safe. And whatever we want to succeed in, right? Which is our soul growth, really. Yeah. Now, it doesn't mean that I haven't had a conversation with them where it's like It's like there was one time, it was like in I think 2009, I'd go in and do meditation and I'd be asking what's my next best step and such because this is what I'd like to do, and I would get nothing. It would be like nobody's talking to me. And I was saying, where'd you guys go? I mean, because you get to the point as you think, okay, they left. Why would they just leave? Right? But they'll never leave us. No. The thing is that I was asking the same question I always asked, and it was the wrong question. It was the wrong question. And so, I would say, well, where'd you guys go? If you want me to do this, you're going to have to give me some clarification on this. Right? Well, it turned out is that I had completed a good portion, if not all, of my first soul contract. And so there wasn't anything more to do. There wasn't anything that they could show me to do because we had made it past the finish line. And so I was asking the wrong question. Yeah. I don't know. There's people in the chat. This is a good question. When you're speaking with your spiritual team, have you ever been angry with them? Upset with them? Yeah. Now, as two-leggeds, right? As two-leggeds, I think that would be something that would be normal. That would be normal. Yeah. I don't know how to express this one. Because they are a part of us, right? Especially because you have to know that there's certain energies that are on spirits that are on your spiritual team, right? There's your higher self or your soul, right? And there's whatever divine, whether you call that God or creator, the great mystery, whatever you call that divine being is on your spiritual team. And then you have your guardian angel. Your guardian angel who's been with you from the time your soul was conceived, has known you from the time you took form as a spirit. Right. And then you have a whole bunch of other angels, your power animals, your totems, your the devas that are with you. So we have this whole group of help in spirit, right? And so to talk to them in a way that is demeaning, I don't know. I'd have a hard problem with that for myself to do that. It would be like me swearing at or being really caustic to somebody I love, somebody who's really close to me. I mean, can you imagine me saying something like that to Minnie Kansman or Polly Joe or something like that? No, I wouldn't treat them that way. I wouldn't. But I know that we do get upset with them. Right? Hey, there we go. Christine Lottie, there you go. Thank you. Oh, and thank you for the YouTube. That must be smoke on the water. Peace on earth became there's a funny smell. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Rob is saying, and this is why I sojourn here alone and palely loitering. The hedge is hidden, the lake and no birds sing. Yeah, more lyrics, right? Yeah. Bobby's saying disappointed like when cancer came to our world. Yes. Yes. Now, I understand. I understand us being two-legged, um, and working through with that kind of understanding when those kinds of things happen, but yeah. Julie saying yes, but it's been a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rob is saying I've been ready to throw down. Yeah. Kimberly saying that is interesting. Frustration more so when we're looking for clarity, asking what we think is the right question and still feeling unclear. Yeah, the frustration, right? And sometimes I think, Kimberly, I think you kind of touched on something there. The frustration when we feel like, well, there's two things here, I think. One is that we're asking for clarity and we feel that we're not getting it, right? Or that we've asked for something and it's not materializing in the physical world. And we blame it on them. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that goes back to a statement I made a while ago about how that we're the ones that are having the physical experience. We're the spirit that's having the physical experience. Our spiritual team are in spirit. They're not having the physical experience. And so they can't do it for us as much as we would like them to. And then we take the credit for it. you know yeah, and so sometimes I think that when we don't get what we want when we want it and how we want it, we kind of pitch a fit over it, and then blame them for it. um, yeah, and they're saying yeah, but we still love you. We still love you because they understand the underneath that frustration is probably a good dose of fear. Right? And so if we can get to the bottom of it, if we can get to the root of it, we they just offered us a whole big opportunity to learn a life lesson. Oh God. Another life lesson. And Rob is saying, no, I'm sure you've had words with your family. Oh my gosh. Yeah, my blood family, yeah, yes. I would say yes. I have. Probably one too many times. In my 20s, no, it was not good in my 20s. Um, and part of my 30s. Yeah. Yeah, being aware, right? Being aware of it. And but when you're right in the middle of it, man, it can be it can be pretty dramatic, right? Hmm. Pat says, I've been frustrated and thrown in the towel. My team throws it back. And the reason why I'm laughing, Pat, is that because I can picture this. I can picture it. You know, and when you throw the towel down, you say, "That's it. I'm done. I'm not taking one more step until you guys come in here and you explain to me what just happened. I thought this was supposed to be better." That kind of stuff, right? Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad we're having this conversation. I really am, because I just realized we've never talked about that. We've never talked about how we speak to our spiritual team and the intent behind that, right? And the intent behind that. Yeah. And they still love us. even though we might be brats, even though we might be privileged brats, right? Yeah. That when we want it, when we want it, how we want it, and where, right? Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. I've actually heard people swearing at their spiritual team. Yeah, that's true. Only your corner can throw in the towel. Uh, it's a good conversation, though. I'm glad we're having it. All right, so we have one more card, and that card is, as soon as I find it, I know it's here. Oh, here we go. I thought, oh, this is a good pairing. This is a really, really good pairing. Burden basket. It's about self-reliance. And we've had this card a few times already since the first of the month. Burden basket. Remember this one? This one is about, in the old days, how the basket was actually used by women, and it made so it's kind of like almost like a backpack kind of situation, and they used it to gather wood for the cooking fire, and so it can only carry so much, so that it wasn't too heavy that it would cause physical issues, right? But it also kept their hands free so that they could forage along the way, as preparing for their meal. That was the original intent for that basket. And when they weren't using the basket, they would hang it on the outside of their home. And that also showed others that they were home too, right? And so when they would have visitors, the polite thing to do something in the good way, is that the person who came to visit would leave their burdens, their baggage, the things that were their problems, right? They would leave them in the basket energetically, and then they would go in and have their visit. And so this way they weren't dumping all of their emotional baggage or mental baggage onto the person that they were visiting. That they could actually have a good conversation without one person dominating the entire conversation, right? Yeah. And if they didn't need to talk to somebody, they would go to an elder, or they would go to like a medicine person or a holy person to be able to talk to them about their problems. And the elder would give them advice in exchange for usually tobacco or something like that. Same way with the medicine people or the healers. Yeah. But the self-reliance is really to me, it's more about self-control too. A little self-discipline is to be able to, oh, here's a word called spewing, right? That you're not verbally spewing all your problems and all of your woes onto someone else who probably have even that or more going on in their life. And so you basically leave it all over them. that energy that you've been carrying around, you just kind of spray it all over somebody else. Yeah. So the burden basket is today, because not many people use it today, obviously, but I think it's a great metaphor to be able um, to be able to have a conversation with somebody without dominating the conversation with all of your problems, right? Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever been in a conversation like that? You know, I have on several occasions. Yeah. And I'd hang up the phone and I'd think, geez, they didn't even ask me how I was doing. And so, oh, yeah, okay. Kimberly, thank you so much for putting the posts in there about the shows. Nope, for doing that. All that information is right there at our audience's fingertips. I want to check on something. One of the shows. Oh, here we go. I just didn't want to miss anybody here. Tanya saying, hi, Neshi. I'm just catching the end. Would love to hear about speaking to our spiritual team. I'm just learning about reaching out to them. Yeah, I was just saying that the first card that we got, here, let me take that down, is smoke signals. It's about intention. It's about communication, right? And I had kind of expanded it a bit, not just between one person and another, two-leggeds having a conversation, but how we have a conversation with our spiritual team. That for me, there's the requests for assistance, right? I'm calling them all in and asking them for information or to bring something to me or something like that, right? It's those requests. And for me, there's another kind of communication that I have with them, and it would be just like having a communication with a friend, because they care about us. They've been with us for a long time, and just to have a communication that I would maybe have with somebody pretty close to me, right? It's like, I remember one time, it was a while ago, probably more than a decade ago. I used to say something that every time I said it, I could hear they're saying, no, that, you're more than that, right? When it came to my using my medicine dress, I had a thing about the worthiness of being gifted that dress and using it, right? And so the way I would explain it sometimes to other people is like, but it's just me. I'm not any more or any less than anybody else, but I'm just me. And I was talking to my team one time, and they mentioned this piece to me about you're more than the word just, because when you say that, you're making it less than, and that's not true. That's not true. You're much more than that. And so that was the piece that I had to kind of work on, right? To be more accepting and to speak of myself or what my dress symbolizes with a clearer intent. Yeah. So having just a conversation with them, and I wasn't asking for anything. I wasn't asking for anything. We were just talking. Yeah. And sometimes it's not actually the physical words, the actual verbal kind of stuff. Sometimes it is, but a lot of times it's just, quietly to myself. We're having this conversation. A lot of times that happens when I'm doing dishes or ironing or vacuum cleaning or doing some of those mundane things, right? Yeah. Kimberly is saying, yes, I think it's good to have balance. Giving and receiving can come in different ways, though I have found, and sometimes you don't see it till later in life. That's true. That really is true. And I do believe that this is a form of the balance of giving and receiving. In a conversation, right? When you're having a conversation with somebody, doesn't matter if it's another two-legged, another four-legged, or anybody, right? Is that a conversation is about giving and receiving. One person is speaking, the other is listening. And in a conversation, you take turns doing that, right? Yeah. But that's a good one, Kimberly. Thanks for adding that. It is about another form of balance. It is. Yeah, and so to have clear intent, I'm going to show you the two cards. I know we're at the top of the hour, but I want to show you the two cards together. Here it is. The two cards together. So we have smoke signals, which is about communication, and you're clearly stating your intention. Clear communication. And the burden basket is also about communication. It's about self-reliance and having the ability to really take care of your own problems, right, as best you can. They're not saying don't ask for help. They're just saying that this is your life lesson, and when you spread it over a whole bunch of people and trying to get them to talk about it and them to listen, that's not clear intention. Yeah. And so basically, I think that what Spirit is telling us here is that to be really mindful of our communication of all kinds, not just verbal, but all our communication. Yeah. Yeah. It's good though. Because it helps us along our way in our spiritual growth, right? Like good communication. Yeah, when your words, your thoughts, your deeds, your actions, your body language, yeah, when it all aligns, yeah, then you're standing in your integrity, right? In your truth. Standing in your truth. I like that. So there it is. I'm just going to take a moment here is that, remember anything that resonated with you that we shared is to embrace it. That's my suggestion. And to see how the day's energy unfolds for you and where this information could be helpful. Yeah. And if it didn't, that's okay. Don't worry about it. No worries. There's always tomorrow's cards, and see how they flow for you tomorrow. But what I wanted to do was to also remind you, a gentle reminder, is that if you could join us tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at the Sound Weavers fan page, that is the newest book that Star Nations Publishing has published for and with our newest author, and her name is Madonna De Palo. And Madonna is part of our community. And so tonight is the launch. It's the Facebook live stream party for her book. And so come and join our party. Come and join the party. It's going to be fun. She's got some giveaways, and we're going to talk about the book a bit. And she's got a special going for an author-signed book. It's a children's book, and it's all about whales and dolphins. And yeah, come and join us. Get to know Madonna, and we'll have some fun. And so starting a brand new week, right? We've got chakra sessions on Tuesday at noon Eastern. We have communications from home at 8 p.m. on Tuesday. And then we have soul connections on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Thursday. Thursday we have Angel Therapy with Maureen Mann at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we have the Mystery School at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. We have a whole lot of shows for you this week. And then you include this daily live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern every day, or nearly every day, I should say. All right. So with that, I hope to see you in the chat room somewhere in one of those shows. That'll be fun. And to be able to be together in the chat room, right? Okay. So, Bama Mina, that means in Potawatomi, until we see each other again. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay? Love you guys.